Well, hello and welcome. I'm Sue Britz,
And I'm Tina Lokkbokk. Welcome to Retired.
the podcast where we talk about what life is like when we put on new tread, new wheels that move us to our next adventure. You know, Tina, this whole podcast, Retired, putting on new tires, new tread. So we're tired of being tired. You know, all those plays on our podcast and our podcast title and all the things that we've been chatting about. It all comes down to a good metaphor, doesn't it?
It sure does, Sue.
I mean, and then being teachers, you know, who doesn't love a metaphor and how to talk with kids and then have them use that metaphor in their language, in their writing? It's an astounding thing.
What brought us together, I think, where the connection really has been, a lot of it has to do with language in every sense, not just this bilingual part, but because of our love for language.
Well, you know, people don't, shouldn't everyone love language? I mean, this is what we
No.
use to talk. People have to communicate. And so, you know, you use language, you use body language. You know, people talk about what's their love language. I mean, it's all out there, right? Yeah.
But I think most people aren't even aware of language. And you and I are hyper aware, which is why we like puns and metaphors. And
You also need to know the difference between a metaphor and a simile. I mean, people get those mixed up.
absolutely.
And the idea of teaching. So here we are, you know, telling people what you know, if people know it's kind of redundant, you know. But anyhow, that's what we're going to get into today, rhetorical speech. Tina, as I was going through
Sue.
different rhetorical devices in language, there's a lot that I've never knew there was of course there had to be a name for it, but I never knew of the name. You know, a lot of the things we do, like alliteration,
Personification. That's
metaphor,
my favorite.
hyperbole, onomatopoeia, oxymoronic stuff, similes, you know, all this we are familiar with. We've loved and we've taught this to our kids as using powerful language and tools that we already use. Now, this topic came up because if you were listening last week, Tina's all about toasting right now and speaking and
becoming a master of the toast, actually.
well, and you know, if you're going to become a master of the toast, you have to have a good toaster or a toaster oven and I recommend that.
This is why I love you.
Okay. Anywho, back to what we're talking about, language. So this is all in being more aware of what mechanisms we use, the device that we use to speak, and you're doing this more mindfully. I'm just, you know, living life, and but I think going back to this list and then putting names to, or just understanding that some of the things that we do naturally are these rhetorical devices that are very effective in speech, in talking, or in humor for that matter. So, did you look up any rhetorical devices?
Well, I just wanted to have you pay attention to your body signals as I make statements. Okay, it's kind of fun. Used car versus pre-owned vehicle. Which feels lighter and better?
Okay, so now we're getting into where it's almost like we're in the T-Rompa area, and you have to use politically correct language, or there's an assault on, quote, politically correct language. So pre-owned, that's the more modern way of saying it. Used
But
car.
how did you feel? Like, did one sound better than the other to you or not? I'm just going to throw out some examples.
I would say no,
Yeah.
because what it's doing is not even about the car. It's pushing on this idea of language itself, and who's policing my language, who's telling me to use more modern terms, or who's telling me not to use more politically correct terms. So, you know, a used car or a pre-owned car, there's nothing DEI about it, but
Vehicle.
it's
pre-owned vehicle.
vehicle. Excuse me. No,
Right?
I didn't feel
it
emotionally
changes it,
connected
shifts
to.
it.
I didn't feel a difference. I felt one was more modern, one was older, and I'm fine with a used car.
Okay. How about learn skills versus transform your life?
I know what you're trying to lead me to, but I'm kind of old fashioned. I'm feeling retired. Uh, yeah. I'm just going to go with learned skills because I think
Can
there's a
I
lot of
have
value in learned skills. When you learn something, you're putting effort into it, and it's a honorable and good thing.
can I have ice cream versus I finished my homework, cleaned my room. Could I have some ice cream?
Well, first of all, I would say, may I have ice cream? And I
Mm.
hate the buy, trying to buy me. I hate that. You say, "May I please have some?" And you use the word "please." May I please have some ice cream? Is better. Yeah.
Okay, so Sue, this is totally failing on you, but the point I wanted to make is it's it changes the feel
Oh,
and the
absolutely.
emotion within it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I wanted to point out with rhetoric. It's how we use language.
Oh,
And this is an
absolutely.
example of you can take the same thing and completely rescript it, and it has a totally different feel. How it's received with the audience you have is the thing. You have to know which way
Right.
to create it,
Don't
right?
don't try to buy me. I did these things, da, 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 and then you get a reward, and the reward is food, and maybe that's not a good connection either. I'm going to so many layers of thinking about it rather than just say, "May I please have some ice cream?"
Exactly, exactly. But that's what I wanted to do.
I'm old
This
fashioned.
this didn't go the way I had expected, but in a way, this was a beautiful example of language and how every audience is going to perceive it differently. So you
Mm-hmm.
really have to pick your language for the audience you've got.
That's true. That's very much
Yeah,
true.
that was my example for you.
So I think a lot of language that we've studied was specifically for writing, and I'm thinking about poetry. I love alliteration. That's a good one for a poster, a protest poster, a resistance poster, which we all could be using right now. I like alliteration a lot. I like all the yes, alliteration is a wonderful thing. Do you use alliteration much?
I think my device most used, as you know, between just Pearl and Bjorn is personification, where I take
Oh,
objects and things, and I think that's my favorite of them all, is to make them human personified.
that's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, I'm going through some of the words that I'm looking at on this list of them. Hyperbole is a great one. I use that one all the time. It's usually done sarcastically.
Yes.
So yeah, that one comes out a lot. Of course, metaphor we've talked about. If you're
And
into
simile.
personification, do you like onomatopoeia?
Is that you got to remind me of that
That's the
one?
thing
That's
that
not the one where it's spelled backwards in both directions.
no, that's a
No.
palindrome. Uh,
That's it. Thank
no,
you.
but
I forgot that word.
onomatopoeia is where the sound of the word imitates the sound. So like buzzing of the bees is so buzz is onomatopoeia.
Rough, rough, arf,
Yes,
arf.
yeah. Life is rough. Da, da, da.
Ah, oh, no. Okay, we talked at the beginning about being aware, right? That we all speak, you're right, but we have a love for it. This is what I'm saying. You have the name for the thing that we do. All of us as humans, we will say arf, arf, and buzz without even thinking. And the difference is when you love language, you become conscious of these things to name it
Well, that's why.
within the speaking.
Well, that's why I was looking at this list, and there's so many I don't know. I've never even heard of, but I recognize that device, that usage of within language, and I think
Hmm.
that by naming it, by understanding that it is one of these rhetorical devices, that it puts attention to it, and you will purposefully use that device and hone it. So, I mean,
If you
there's
like language.
yeah, well, there's stuff that you do all the time already, and it's
Hmm.
like maybe there are more ways to use that language to your own benefit, whatever it might be, whether it's Toastmaster or talking to your kids or trying to be a stand-up comedian or whatever it might be. Language is the thing here, and as podcasters, we need to really be aware of our language as well.
We do.
Mic early and mic often. I mean, that's what we've got to do.
So this week I'm doing my first Toastmasters speech called an icebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm going to do is bring a bag of ice and a stone, and I'm going to smash it and say, this is a metaphor for breaking open conversation. And then my metaphor that I'm going to use is a book, and that the book, the pages are your life, and the chapters are the sections within your life. And there's also bigger sections called parts, or you can go into the volumes if you have a lot. And so that's how I'm going to start my whole speech and my icebreaker. And I'm talking about this stage of my life, this part of my life, and reclaiming my old Lokkbokk Norwegian heritage. So
Nice.
again, it ties into metaphors. And so what I found out, see, the geek of language. So I looked up, the icebreaker was based, you know where that comes from, that metaphor?
Yes, I think maybe. There's a couple
go.
of opportunities.
I had no idea.
One of
Yeah,
two.
yeah, yeah.
Here I'm thinking either it's cold and you're living in a cold environment where you wake up in the morning and your wash basin is frozen over, so you have to break that ice to start your day off clean, right? Or it's
Beautiful.
or you're in a fishing ship. You're in the North Atlantic, and your boat gets frozen in the ice, and you're stuck and abandoned on the ice for the whole season. And you better hope for an icebreaker, because otherwise you're going to die.
Okay. First, I love the personal one that takes it to an everyday life one. That's gorgeous. And the one you're talking about at the end is that there are ships specifically made to break the ice
Right.
so that other boats can go through.
Yes.
Oh my God, good job, Sue. Good job.
You're funny. So you're taking props. You're going to rely heavily on props, which is fun. People like that. And they might be, guessing what you're going to do, especially if they see a bag of ice. But you're being very literal. See another
Yes.
a literal, and then taking it to the metaphor. So that's the beauty of a metaphor, is you take something very literal and you change it into this figurative language. It's very nice.
Thank you.
Okay, so other language issues. Do you want to look at? I'll say a name, and you can tell me what you think it might be.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, you mean like what it is?
This is
I'm
a rhetorical
so poor at
device.
this. No, I'm embarrassed. I really don't know much.
Well,
so
and some of them
went
I
to
wouldn't.
generalizations.
Okay. Say that again.
I focused on what rhetoric generally is, not the specific mechanics of it. So I thought I would approach it differently because I knew you were going to go into the specifics. And then I was secretly hoping you wouldn't put me on the spot and I wouldn't have to know like an onomatopoeia, or I even tried to write it down, a homonomatopoeia. Yeah.
It's onomatopoeia, not homona.
That. I thought it was a silent H. See? We're already lost. Onomatopoeia.
Okay, what about
all O's?
Apophasis? These are all hard to...
I could create things.
Okay, so tell me what you think apophasis is.
Hypothesis is...
No, apophasis.
I know, I'm just working with all I know. That's as good as I can give you, is a hypothesis.
Okay, so it's when you have an issue...
Greek! Just guessing that it had Greek origin.
It very well could, and all these are either Greek or Latin, and that's why I can't even pronounce them. But see, apophasis is when you mention something without mentioning it. So, for example, if we were talking about T-Rump, we won't discuss his past crimes. We'll just deal with the ones that are happening now. But no, so that's an example. We won't discuss his past crimes. So we're not discussing it, but we just mentioned it, didn't we?
Oh.
And that's used a lot in stand-up comedy. I feel an affinity for stand-up comedy, and I would think it would be so fun to do, and that's on my bucket list. I just have to get some people to join me in that. But teachers, we talk about this a lot at the staff room, how it would be hilarious to do stand-up based on it. And there's some groups that have come out and done that recently. I don't know if you follow any of them, but they're pretty funny. But apophasis is great because you talk about it without saying it. And there we go.
That's cool. Okay, keep going.
All right. So how about I can't say it.
Die,
Dice.
like a
Okay, here we go.
demigoddess.
Hang on.
Die to, by, to.
Dicivism. What do you think dicivism is?
Divisivism.
Not device.
That's what I'm
Dicivism.
going with. Divisivism. Divisivism. It is the splitting of words.
Okay, it is using an offensive or disparaging expression,
Divisive. See?
right,
It divides.
for something agreeable or inoffensive. So, like a greasy spoon. A greasy spoon restaurant, people go, oh gosh, that's a yeah. And yet, who wants to go eat off of a greasy spoon? But greasy spoons can be real great dive bars. It's wonderful.
Oh my gosh. Excellent. More?
Let's see. How about analepsis?
Sounds like some medical condition.
It does, doesn't it?
Your anus.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
Septic anus.
Oh my God. Maybe we should bleep that out. That's just wrong. Analepsis. You're horrible. Okay.
Or when your anus goes into convulsions. Yeah.
Okay, this one we'll have to put an explicit on here, because if you don't want to hear about horrible health conditions. No.
So what is it?
So analepsis is the use of interrupting the chronological sequence of something. So I use this. I found out I use this a lot where we're talking about something and go, oh, I remember da 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 da. So all of a sudden I'm in the past.
Yes.
And then it's connection to the past to make me think about the present. So yeah.
Does it have to go to the past, or can it go forward and to the side?
It just, as long as it's not chronological.
Ooh, that's so fun. Oh, these are good ones, Sue.
Analepsis. All right, what about anaphora? What about anaphora? What do you think
So
of that?
what comes to me is
Don't go to the
euphoria.
anus again.
No.
Okay.
I'm going in a different direction. So for me, it goes to euphoria, because that's the word that closest connected that popped into my head. So this is about dreamy, exotic, exciting experiences.
Okay. It's a repetition of a word or an expression. So you say it over and over so that it really, and I use this one a lot too. That's what I looked up these rhetorical devices that I find that I use quite often. So, for example, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. So it's we cannot. Repeating that, repeating it, repeating it too.
Oh, that's true. I now that you mention it with you, I get yes.
Yeah.
Do I use it? Is there anything popping out?
What are we talking? Anal stuff again, or what?
No. No, but that could be maybe that. It could be that. Do I use that a lot off camera?
I don't know. I do. I tend to use that one especially when I'm writing something that I feel strongly about. I do.
Right. Yes, that's what it is when you're passionate. Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh. I think I would say I believe a lot. I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So right. I could see. That's good.
What about chiasmus?
For whatever reason, kismet.
No, chiasmus.
Is it?
It's not. It's CHI, which is K. Chiasmus. Okay,
so what comes to my mind now is chismes. So this is all about the joke, because in Spanish, a chisme is like a joke, or it's a gossipy thing.
Okay.
So I'm going to say chiasmus has to deal with gossip or jokes.
Okay. No, it's about an inverted relationship. So are you working hard or hardly working?
Oh, that's cute.
I do that one occasionally.
So as you have all these cool things, this is what I did this morning. You went to look at specific things, which is fun.
The rhetorical devices.
And I went for the bland. So I looked up rhetoric, the art of using language to persuade, influence, or move people. Mm-hmm. So I went in for the very generic overview of the whole thing. And then there are 3 classic parts of rhetoric, which is trust, emotion, and logic. which I thought was interesting. Trust, emotion, and logic. In other words, we do things to either build trust, play on emotion, or think about things for an argument to come up with reason. So
Huh.
I came from this angle just completely generic because I knew you had specifics like these onomatopoeia. Did I do
Onomatopoeia.
it? Onomatopoeia. That's going to be a hard one for me. But those specific things I'm not so aware of. So I thought I'll just go for the generic, put my toe in the water kind of feel. So
Well, it just anything, looking at it, discussing it, it's good because it's paying attention to language and how and why we use it. And then when you start doing this for yourself, you start noticing it in others that are speaking, in our leaders,
you
in our,
do.
yeah.
You do.
So should we talk
And
about oxymoronic things? Like, not moronic, because there's a lot of that in our leadership, but something that's oxymoronic is always fun to talk about. Incongruous
it
words,
is.
yes.
Uh, before we do, I I want to say something that has fascinated me when I started learning language is probably like you. Did you have to take linguistics
Yeah, in order to major
or
in a
phonology?
yeah, in order to major in a foreign language, one has to take those two. Yeah.
So I had so much fun in my phonology class that I, for a while, thought maybe I will just not be a Spanish major because I am fascinated how every sound has a name. Then, when I go into teaching, and especially English as a second language, it was called at that time, I found it just so fascinating dissecting sentences and that every word has a name. And so, what you have done now is taken it to like the next level for me, where it's like every grouping of words has a name
Well, not even grouping, it's the use of. It's a
or
stylistic
use of.
choice. Yeah, it's a stylistic
It's
choice.
fascinating though,
It is. It's
isn't it?
fun. Yeah, it
It's
is
so
fun.
cool. So you've taken this for me to another level. I went from the micro letters to the sentences, right? And now we're
Okay.
going into this, and it's just kind of, this is so fun.
It's not oxymoronic at all. Unlike some of our leaders that
No, I have a little big problem.
yes, or jumbo shrimp. I nothing better than a
Ah!
jumbo shrimp.
I don't know if I can think
Deafening.
fast enough yet.
You had some deafening silence there after it was said.
That's true. That's true. Oh my gosh. Keep going,
We
Sue.
could we
I
could
can't
make
keep up with
we
you
could
right
make an
now.
original copy of something. And of course, a lot of time when we think about our loved ones, it's a very bittersweet thing that when we think about our loved ones. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, keep going.
No, I
These
mean
are
the whole list.
good.
I love oxymoronic thing. They're going to do a whole list. I remember someone posted a list of oxymorons in front of our copy machine in the copy room at school, and you
Oh,
could just
lovely.
read them all and just have a little laugh as you go through. It's because it is yeah, it's very funny.
Like
And
being a serious comedian.
yes, a serious comedian.
Because it just made me think of you. And you were talking about how you want to do comedy.
Well,
And I could see you go out there and look very serious and then bam, out you come
Well,
with
the
these things
reality
that
is, we talked about
throw
this
us off
last
our
week. There's no
chairs.
way I could
Yes,
do
we
it
did.
because I am not one who memorizes. I mean, people go up, when you do stand up, you
Mm.
memorize your stuff. You work your craft, you write it all up, you practice it, and you memorize it. And I'm
And
not a
we don't like
memorizer.
memorizer.
I'm not a
Yeah.
memorizer. And so when you're doing improv, even with improv, you have to come with a lot of memorized
Really?
relationships to things.
Really?
Yes, at hand, ready to use. And I just
That's
don't think
true.
that way. Whereas I am a brainstormer and I can feed into something and I can go, but it's not going to go in any planned direction. It's just going to be what it is going to be. And I love when all of a sudden in something like in teaching or whatever it might be, a connection is made. And so I just find that super exciting to make the connections to things. And that's where I can do that thing where you go off the allipsis and go off into a different
Yep.
chronological sequence and do something else. My brain functions that way a lot. So,
Yep. Mine too. And I think what you just said, and it sparked it in me, is you're right. I think that's part of the joy of teaching is making connections. to the randomest things and bringing it all together and then regurgitating it to the kids.
Oh, we're regurgitating. We're not supposed to regurgitate and refeed the kids. We're supposed to help
Ooh, I
them,
like that.
guide them.
Right.
We're supposed to
To
guide.
discover their own.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
Which I do think
regurgitate.
is important too. Right. That you're right. Ooh. Good thing I retired.
Caught you on that one.
Yeah. Ooh.
Okay, here's one more. One more. Let me try one here. How about hyperbaton?
Oh God. So hyper would be extreme.
Hyperbaton or hyperbaton? Yeah, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. What do you think it is?
Hyper going up, bottom going down. It is like the oxymoron in a vertical way.
Kind of close. It's a transformation or an inversion of an idiomatic word order. So you take an idiom and you change it up. So judge me by my size, do you?
Oh, that's cute. Right.
Yeah, and that would be more of a humor kind of intent to it, maybe? Judge me by my size. So it's the comma
with a question? Do they all end in questions?
It could. It doesn't have to be, but it's taking an idiomatic expression and changing it around into something else.
Ooh.
Oh.
But that would be horizontal. It's not vertical. Yeah.
How about we wrap up this episode? We talked about metaphors, which we live on, but
yes.
Simile, people get those mixed up.
And what kind of ribbon do you want to use? I've really gotten into twine.
What?
We're wrapping this up.
Oh God!
And so I'm wondering, what kind of ties string would you use?
That's a big groan.
Wah, wah, wah,
there we go. She does her own sound effects. Let's wrap it up with this, because a simile uses the word
like
or as. Yes. And so, cold as ice. I love that song. That's a good one. Light as a feather.
You're as cold as ice.
And we're not going to sacrifice our audience by singing that. Our audience of Sharon and all the others.
Together.
Yeah.
Sharon would be on here singing this. Yeah.
So, in just keeping with the Toastmaster theme, I'm going to use a simile to close this out. In retirement, we hope that your days will pass leisurely like a slow running river. Polite applause there. Polite applause. Polite applause.
I was trying to keep it down. You said to keep it a little under wraps.
Oh God. Until next week, y'all. Thanks for listening. Now let's pack up this week's episode in the trunk.
Ride shotgun and be a part of our adventure by clicking on the plus sign to follow our show. This will help our ratings and, more importantly, inspire us to keep creating fun and engaging content. We would love to hear from you in the comments sections or email us at retiredpodcastnewtred@gmail.com. Use the fast track lane by sharing episodes with friends, family, and anyone who would like to join us on a road trip through retirement.
Be sure to check the show notes for links and contact information. Retired is chauffeured by Sue Britz and Tina Lokkbokk. It is produced, directed, and edited by me, Sue Britz. Music and graphics are by me too. Buckle up and tune in next week so that you won't miss your chance to join our retired road trip. Woohoo! Speak and you shall be edited. All right.